Depends a little bit about what kind of product you actually bought. I would definitely dive into the tutorials that is in the software. If you bought the educational version, we have a retail version, and that is really focused on the play experience, but there is actually an educational version of the software, and I would dive into that for your students, again, to try it out, to really start experiencing how does this robot work. There's tons of, I think actually the FLL website as well has some guidelines how to get started with the robot. Start in the software, go to the FLL website. There is a getting started guide for the robot experience as well.
At this point, we can't really comment any more in detail about the challenge release. The challenge documents will be fully available with all the information that the kids will need to embark on their project. And that release is just coming up at the end of the month on August 26th. So the purpose of this series and Soren's presentation in particular is really just to get people starting to think and getting teams starting to think about where they might take their challenge and what sort of experts they might seek out. So unfortunately, I can't provide any more information at this point, but I think that if you're already starting to talk about these subjects with your teams, then you will be in good shape. That Soren mentioned a presentation from a TED Talk, and he was not able to think of the gentleman's name, but I believe he was speaking about Sir Ken Robinson's presentation on how schools kill creativity. And I'm just going
to... Thank you.
Perfect. I'm just going to send the link out to that, so if anybody wants to grab it and view it later, it's a great presentation, and it might be some good food for thought.
If you had the educational version of the software, you will enter a lobby. And if you're a rookie team, I would definitely start with the basics, which basically just teaches you how to program your robot to do different movements, going forward, going backwards, turning in a circle, turning in. So it's really just the basics, and then you can always advance into the more advanced features. But as a rookie team, that's the point to start.
Excellent. We also have a comment that says, "Thanks, Soren, for this insight into Learning Unleashed. Never thought about some of these before. It was awesome." Thank you. Thanks for coming. It is true the instructions from building are ready, but not the mission rules. The mission rules are actually going to be part of that challenge document that will be released on August 26th. So you won't have that just yet, but you'll be getting them soon.
So I've actually seen quite a few approaches to it, because I totally acknowledge that just putting a robot on a table and will scare off many girls. But what we've actually seen, and we do have some research on that as well, done by a German university called Fraunhofer Institute. They developed a full robotics program focusing only on girls, and they did research into it. And it's really how you stage set it. I mean, if you go into a classroom and try to recruit girls, you probably shouldn't focus on the robot. You should probably focus on what is it actually, what's the purpose. We see lots of challenges being put forward where girls just, nah, it's not for me. That is the stereotype kind of thinking. But in reality, we see tons of female engineers doing fantastic work. They are equally good at solving engineering tasks or technology tasks. There are no differences at all. But it's how you put the challenge forward. That's my best advice that I can give you, because I mean the manipulatives, the FLL challenge, I mean it's equally important. It's equally challenging for boys and girls. It's a different approach. I see huge benefit. I mean, FLL, many of the values that you learn and the experiences that you have when you go through an FLL challenge is exactly what is in the local standards that that we see in many countries. I don't know, was this a US-based question? Because if it was the new Common Core standards that are in the US, I mean, there are so many of the values of Common Core that is totally aligned with the whole process of FLL and creating that meaningful, deep learning experience. So I think if you really want to, if the predominant way of engaging with teachers has, for me, I've seen the research project as being the best way of engaging teachers. Once they say, well, okay, I know how to facilitate a research work or a topic exploration in my classroom, I'm totally confident with that. But actually what I've seen is that's just how you capture the teachers, because then they will see the engagement, the motivation of the team members, and suddenly I've seen it several times, it actually dawns on many of the teachers that this is a full learning experience. This is an experience that you can build on in your future teaching. So I mean, it might be sneaky, but I would go through the research project and see if they won't take responsibility for that. Well, I guess that's fantastic that they are able to do that. I think that you should encourage it as much as possible. You don't have to know everything. If you really want to help them out, how about approaching somebody that, if you know somebody that works with programming in general, trying to bring them in as an expert. You don't have, as a coach, I do not see you have to be an expert on everything. Maybe you're just a support function, somebody that can challenge them and say, well, okay, can you explain this program to me? And if they get stuck somewhere, they will probably go, there's something here that we need to look into. So be a facilitator more than somebody that knows everything, and find comfort in that. I know it's super scary, but if they can do it on their own, just support them in that. And somebody else from the outside could potentially come in and help you.
Just scrolling through, I do see someone who made a comment kind of back to the question about how to engage girls, and they said one of the schools they are supporting have made FLL a mandatory part of the curriculum. While girls are often hesitant to work with the Lego robots in the beginning, the most enthusiastic pupils in the end are often the girls. We have actually a team member on the phone who has, on the line, who has a question. Rohan says, I'm 10 and I've enjoyed creating with Lego for as long as I can remember. I do not have an EV3 or any other robot, but hope to get one soon. Is there any place I can learn the programming of the EV3 without actually having one?
It depends on where you are. I see tons of coding clubs popping up around the world at the moment. There's a big trend in coding in general, and many of these places have actually taken up the EV3 as the tool to use to learn coding. So I would search the after-school programs and some of the organizations that work in your area to see if some of them have EV3 as their tool. That is kind of the best advice. I would love if there was a website where you could get a free introduction, but I cannot just think about it, come up with somebody right now.
Depending on where you are located, sometimes there are workshops available put on by the FLL partner in your region who might have a possibility to get your hands on a robot without you actually having one, just for an intense experience. So I would check with the area that you are in. I also have some suggestions coming in from a number of folks on the line that say that there is a free version of the home version of software downloadable in the US at the LEGO EV3 website. We are starting to get close to the end of our scheduled time, but we do have one comment from Tom, who says, it's not for me, is also an escape mechanism for girls to get out of the boy-dominated environment. The leader needs to be aware that by their nature, boys will try to dominate access to the robot. If you approach this way, you can control the environment to allow for the girls to have access to. I grow strong girl leaders because I know this. Separating girls from boys is an easy way to get them access, but it doesn't prepare them for the real world. And for those of you who have been asking about the details of the project and the robot game, I just want to repeat in case you joined the webinar late that our Ask an Expert series is intended to provide some food for thought for the teams who are going to be embarking on the FLL World Class Challenge, but the details of the challenge have not yet been released. They will be released on the website on August 26th at noon Eastern Time. So don't worry, you haven't missed anything. Nobody's got it in their hands just yet.
I would love for gamification to play a bigger role, and I see the game industry and the learning industry merging more and more. I think that we will see, I mean, we've seen the first kind of approach. I mean, the SimCity education is, personally, I think it's fantastic. But there are other programs out there where that kind of borders the educational gamification approach. But I think we will see much more of that going forward. That games will find their way in there. It's difficult for many companies to really. I haven't seen the fantastic programs yet. SimCity Edu is probably the best example, but knowledge is being built. There's tons of research out there at the moment, and I think within maybe a year or two we will see much more of that. So absolutely, the future of education also lies within gamification. And it's just, again, it's the motivator, it's the engagement, it's the instant success. I know exactly whether or not I'm solving a task in the right way, in the wrong way. If I need to adapt, oops, something is going wrong, so I need to do something else. It's those sort of approaches that I think is exactly what I'm talking about, and that games can bring that.
I have a couple more comments. One from Elizabeth. I'm a retired teacher and have participated for years. I have helped the children learn to research a topic, work cooperatively. The benefits I have gained are countless. I now have a tsunami app on my phone, I assume from Nature's Fury. I keep my mother healthy because I learned about food safety. My students are now into nanotechnology. My disabled students are more engaged and their peers understand their challenges better because of FLL themes. It has helped me continue to grow and learn. In regards to girls, my girls seem to be very strong in problem-solving activities, so I let them shine in that department while they are getting to know the robot and programming. I also try very hard to have a minimum of 2 girls on the team. That social partnership is important, especially in the early days of team building. So that's an interesting perspective as well for those of you who are looking for some information on how to engage girls and what the right, if there is such a thing, which there probably isn't, a number of girls to have on a team. I think it really varies from situation to situation. We also have a comment from Susan that says, I'm a second-year coach of an all-girls team entering 5th grade. We are sponsored by the Girl Scouts of the U.S. The biggest challenge has been getting the girls comfortable with making mistakes and experimenting. So Soren's idea is about getting inspired by others and getting comfortable with making mistakes. Girls' safe spaces can be really useful.
I actually think that's a brilliant question because I totally acknowledge that some boys just naturally tend to move towards the robot challenge. Again, I think it comes back to how you facilitate the work you do as a team. That again, if you work really together as a team, everybody should be involved in every single process or part of every single process. So make sure that you build a team spirit where they take ownership of the full experience, that they are all ready to answer those questions. When they come to the competition, I mean, they're going to be asked questions by the judges. Every single one of them might be asked a specific question about the robot, about the research project, and they should be able to answer those questions. So really make sure that everybody takes ownership of every single part. It might be that some are the leaders of different areas, but everybody should be part of every single aspect of the team solution to the challenge.
Excellent. Thanks, Soren.
Can we get a more explanation of exactly what he means by that?
What he means by that, Gregory? I'm going to see if you are still on the line. Here we go. Teachers are taught to teach. What and how, he says.
Yes, but I see tons of teachers being super creative in the way they teach. So I am not super scared about the abilities of the teachers to actually facilitate a process like a FLL challenge. I think the biggest challenge is actually time, because it can be time consuming for some teachers. Teachers tend to be super busy people that engages in all sorts of activities. But I'm not super scared that they won't be able to master a process like this. There are also materials on the FIRST website, and I know there are tons of coaches that are also sharing their experience and how they structure the season for their teams. So yes, I know there's tons, and I touched a little bit upon it, there's tons of evaluations, tons of tests that the teachers need, tons of needs they need to meet, and that they are trained to meet. I've seen so many teachers actually seeing the benefit of FLL and being able to argue that benefit with their administrator or principal, that this is a learning experience that goes beyond the normal classroom as well, and it can actually fit within the normal classroom and the tasks that are given at a certain grade level. So yes, I'm full of confidence that our teachers can do that. I hope that answers the question.
We do have one other comment and question from Beverly. Thank you, Soren, for your very nice presentation. I love your mention of giving students the opportunity to show their capabilities at the higher levels. Critical thinking and communication skills are so important, and we struggle at how to develop them. And then Beverly went on to ask a different topic. Do we know if the materials for the robot game have shipped yet? And Beverly, I can actually answer this. Field setup kits have begun shipping in the United States. If you have already paid for your field setup kits and ordered them, then they should be on the way to you. And I do have a few folks chiming in to say that they have received their field setup kits. And just in case anybody joined late, those build instructions are available online, but the details of the game is part of the challenge document that will be released on August 26th. I think we are just about out of time. We will be having another webinar at the end of the month with another expert, so please watch your team blasts and your blasts from your local partner for more information. And webinars will continue through the fall after the challenge is released. But I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. We are looking at the questions that came up, and we'll certainly use them as fodder for future webinars as well. So I very much appreciate all of your time and participation today. And Soren, are there any parting words that you have for our coaches and teams out there?
I would just reconfirm my words. Good luck, and I really look forward to seeing all the innovative solutions that will come forward this year. I mean, this is my education, is my business. This is my big passion. So I really look forward to seeing the solutions this year. Thank you all.
Thanks so much for your participation today, and I will hopefully see you all on the next webinar. Thank you.